Alrighty, so good morning, folks, or good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you see this. My name is Brian Schuster. I am a member of the Fweb3 community in this little project that Sahil so generously offered for us and airdropped us into this all stuff. And so far, I've been enjoying the game. I've been enjoying everything that we've been doing here. But this morning, I'd like to talk to you about a problem I've noticed, and I've kind of done some research over the last 3 or 4 days related to it, and now I'm kind of ready to present my findings more or less, and kind of, by the end of this, come up to you with a proposal. But basically, we start with this one problem. Problem is that mainnet is really, really expensive to transact on and to do really anything of any significance with. So as we know, when you go through the Discord and take a look at some of the new people coming online, you notice that a lot of them just aren't really looking to spend a lot of money on this project, which makes sense. This is a fun side project. This is supposed to be something that people go ahead and learn. But we're finding that, there's just a lot of expense associated with it. And so people are going to have to put down serious Ethereum to be able to transact with this token, which at least for right now, for like 100, 300 tokens, it really doesn't make a lot of sense for them to do that. So they're kind of on the sideline. And so one of the problems I wanted to go and solve here was, how do we make Ethereum more scalable? Or how do we make this project more scalable so that more people can participate? It's cheaper to transact. It's a lot more fun. And I think I found a solution to that. But before we do that, I'd like to explain for our new folks exactly, why exactly is this so expensive? Why exactly do we go through and do this? So first, let's start with something really basic. So you're going to hear me use the term Ethereum mainnet a couple of times, as opposed to other chains. And this will be really important because we'll get to this a little bit later. But what exactly is Ethereum mainnet? So I'm not sure if you use MetaMask. I hope you can see that in the top right here. But right now I am on the Ethereum mainnet, and that is either the 0 or the 1 mainnet when you go into Ethereum. And if you notice, you can choose other different versions in MetaMask. You see different test networks, Ropstein, Coven, Rinksby, etc., etc. I even have a local host that is a version of Ethereum that's just running on my computer. What this is effectively is just multiple versions of the Ethereum chain running in different places. But these have been designated testnets so that people who are running after projects can go and not spend real Ethereum. But the Ethereum mainnet is the main one. So when you use Uniswap or you go buy tokens on Coinbase, you are buying a place in the ledger for Ethereum, and that's where everyone wants to be able to go. And because of the way Ethereum's built, it's very, very secure. It's very, very decentralized, but also it's not very fast. At this time right now, if you just put a transaction on the Ethereum mainnet, it's about 15 transactions per second. And the reason why, there's a lot of, the price is going up, for market economic reasons, is that lots and lots of people want to transact on this network. Lots of people are fighting to be one of those 15 transactions. And so when Ethereum was built, it had to find a way to be able to go and make it, well, how do I say this? Make it, give the market a way to be able to distinguish who gets that space. And really paying more is the easiest way we have to do that. And it means that if you want to get on the network, you have to pay more. Let me go into detail on why exactly it costs a lot. So you've probably heard this idea of gas inside the Ethereum, network. And really what gas is effectively how you pay for, or how you decide how much a transaction is going to cost. So everything that runs on Ethereum is code-based. That's what you're doing. When, Sahil made this token, he effectively, put all this code, and this is, on the website, you can go and see this. He put all of this code onto the blockchain, and it means that anyone who wants to transact with it can go and use it. However, in order to use it, somebody has to pay for that transaction. And there's a certain amount of, steps that have to be done for this to, for these to, for you to do anything on the network. So for example, I think I pulled it up before. Okay, so let's say you put this contract on and you want to tell the network, I want to burn 100 tokens. Well, what you would do is you would call this contract, and you're effectively calling this burn from function, that you have your address and the uint. Well, ultimately, when you tell the network to do this, you're going to give it a set of instructions. Those set of instructions go down to bytecode, and those say, okay, it's going to take this much work to be able to go and do this, to do that. And it's going to take 30, 40, 50 steps, whatever it ends up being. Every single one of those transactions, even sending tokens, says, I need you to do this many steps. That's the gas portion of it. But that doesn't tell you how much it costs. That just tells you how many steps it's going to take to be able to go and do it, or how many steps the network thinks it's going to take. Then you have this idea of, well, how much do you pay for it? And so if you go to ETH gas station, you can kind of see what the fees are for the network. So for example, like let's say you have a transaction, you say, oh, I'm not that interested in, paying much for this. So I'm going to pay 54 gwei or gwei, I don't know how to pronounce it, for the right to own this. And it's basically 13 cents per, unit of gas, basically, to go and do that. So I'm saying how do I describe this? Basically, imagine if you went to the gas station, like literally gas station, in order to run your car, instead of going and paying a single fee for your gas, everyone was betting on gasoline to go through and say that. In order to do your transaction, your car, you need so much gas, but instead you say, okay, I want to pay 10 cents per gallon for gas. But then somebody else comes up and they have a much higher priority thing. So they say, no, I'm going to pay a quarter per gallon because I need that gas more. And so I hear that and I go and say, well, do I want to pay a quarter? Nah, I don't worry. I'll wait. I'll wait for a different time to go through, and they go out. So because they're willing to pay a quarter, they get it more. Well, then somebody else can go up and basically say, oh, you know what? This is so important. I'm going to pay $10 per gallon. Because my transaction, my thing is so important that I need to get more gas. That's a little bit like what's going on here. So what what this gas station will tell you is basically if you want your transaction to go fast, to be confirmed quickly, you need to pay 85 gwei, which is really a unit of Ethereum. Ethereum is broken up into 18 decimal places. And so basically it's saying, okay, I want to pay 85 per unit of work to be able to go and do that. And down here is basically saying if you want to just go less than 5 minutes or less than 30 minutes, you can basically just pay 54, All this is saying is that, if it doesn't matter when your transaction goes through and you don't mind waiting 30 minutes, this is the lowest you can get away with and it'll still be accepted by the network. If you need it fast, you go, you pay this much and, to go and do that. So that's all theoretical. You have how much the transaction is going to cost, which is really defined by the smart contract. You don't have any control over it. So if you want to buy, an NFT or send transaction, it's defined by the network, but you get to decide how much gas you want to pay, and that decides how quickly it goes through. So let's go through some examples of what it costs to be able to transact. So right now it is 8:46 a.m. in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. Gas prices are low. I have not seen it this low in a while, so maybe evenings are a little bit worse. So I'm going to open up my MetaMask here and show you my account. So let's say I just wanted to go and transfer Ethereum. I just wanted to send someone here. So here's somebody in the network that I actually gave some Ethereum and some tokens to, and I saved it. So he's going to be the person that we kind of use in our example. So let's say, okay, you're cool, dude. I'm going to give you 0.1 ETH to go through. So it converts the transaction. It sees how much it goes through. And here's the estimated gas fee. I hope you can see that. 420. Nice. So it's 0.001 ETH, it's $4.20. And if I go into this edit, I could probably I can say low, maybe 30 seconds, medium, or high. I can pay a little bit more, and it tells you what my max fee is to go through. And you can all of a sudden tell me what the gas limit is, all these things I'm telling you. So I'm paying 94 gwei right now, or 96. It's automatically updating to go through. So that's what a very, very, this is the simplest transaction that can happen on the Ethereum network. I don't think, besides reading basically, which costs virtually nothing, it's, this is the cheapest it'll get here. So you should never expect to pay less than this. Let's assume now I go in and I am doing something a little bit more complex. So let's go reject this transaction. Let's say I want to send Fweb3 tokens. So, okay, so I got, my nice little, batch here. I'm going to go and take this and I'm going to say, you're a cool dude. I'm going to give you 1,000 Fweb3 tokens. And I go next. So I'm sending, but it's more expensive. Why? Well, if you go into the smart contract, if I send just Ethereum token, that's the native currency. So all the network knows how to do that. But the ERC20 token, the Fweb3 token, had to be created on chain. So in order to be able to give it the same functionality, we had to go, or Sahil had to go and basically create the token, the transaction, and do all the code to be able to do effectively the same thing to send it. So it actually takes more code to send a the Fweb3 token than it is to send native Ethereum. And you see that here. It's going to cost, $10. So it's actually 2.5 times more expensive. And that's not uncommon because it takes more code. So $10 for a transaction right now is not bad, but this has been as high as $20 or $16 based on transactions. So it actually does get a fair bit higher. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go reject that. Now let's talk about what actually happens if I go and want to use Uniswap. Like, let's say I don't want to give you $10, but you can go buy it yourself. So you go to Uniswap. I'm on the Ethereum mainnet. I want to do Ethereum, and I want to go buy the Fweb3 token, Fweb3, and I say, okay, I'm going to spend 0.05 Ethereum, $150 to buy, this 3,900 tokens. Fair enough, But now all of a sudden you're looking and saying like, wow, that's $20. So that's even more expensive. So keep in mind, these are the lowest prices I have seen for any of these things to go through. And some people don't have $20 of Ethereum on them, Some of them don't have Coinbase accounts. Some of you folks don't have those things here. And again, for a fun game, we just want to be able to transact for as cheaply as possible. So that's all mainnet. But is there an alternative for this? Is there a way to go through? Well, actually, yes. And that's what I've been studying for the last, last few days. And what we have is something called, if we want to be able to use Ethereum or something like Ethereum, but not pay as much in tokens, what we have to use is something called an L2 scaling solution. So, long time ago, people realized this problem existed. In 2015, when it first came out, Ethereum kind of came up with this base and it decided we're going to be very secure and very decentralized, but we're not going to have that many, transactions to go through. And as Ethereum got more popular, people decided there's got to be better ways to go and solve this. So one of the solutions basically to solve this is basically say, hey, what if we did something like create another chain that is effectively Ethereum that allows us to basically bridge tokens from Ethereum. So you lock them on Ethereum, but you bring them over to this other chain, call it a side chain. And then we do some schemes on that network to basically go and make things faster. What if we bundled a whole bunch of transactions together? What if we use some newer technology that Ethereum's not willing to upgrade to yet to be able to go and do this? Can we make it secure enough and decentralized enough while allowing for more transactions? And so Polygon was one of those solutions that came out to try to go and get a higher set of transactions. So it created the sidechain, and effectively it's Ethereum. You can still think of it. The term you may hear is EVM compatible, Ethereum Virtual Machine compatible. What it says is that basically, at its core, it's still executing the same exact way Ethereum executes. It goes through and it can take your code, it can take anything that goes on Ethereum and basically runs it the same. But it's got some additional benefits that don't exist on Ethereum. Again, there are trade-offs to these, but for the purpose of today, we can just look at the benefits. So one, they actually handle transactions in bulk. So on the Ethereum network, every transaction is atomic. Basically, if I go and send one single transaction to the network, it handles that by itself. So it basically has to handle that one single transaction. But on the Polygon network, it basically handles it in bulk, so that you don't have to pay as many fees to go and do that. And apparently, the UD, which I haven't looked into as much, I'm trying to remember the name. The domain management? No, that's not the name of it. Anywho, other group is basically paying a lot of the fees. It's handled in bulk. That's why a lot of the gas is, is done there. It's done on proof of stake, which is inherently a less costly way of being able to handle this. So they got on proof of stake way before Ethereum. And it has a bunch of other features to basically go be able to, increase the transaction fees. The long story of it is that because it's a separate chain, because you're on transaction, you all of a sudden, basically you don't have to pay as much, at least in theory. So what does it look like in practice? Like what do you get if you go into, Polygon? So I wanted to experiment with this because I've never used Polygon. I've never done anything with it, but I wanted to do that. The first step was actually I had to go and create a token mapping. So this is what happens. So basically, in order to be able to transact on the network, it's a new chain, right? So it's not going to inherit anything from Ethereum. You have to go and basically say, this token is this token. And so I reached out, I mapped a new token, and I took the Fweb3 token and said, here, let's go and put it on Polygon. And they did, basically. I messaged them, they went out, and here's our Ethereum address. You can go check that on the website to see that that's accurate. And here's the Polygon address. We actually have the Polygon network now, and this is Fweb3 on Polygon. You even have, the name of it sitting there. So the first step was really going through and making sure that it's there. The second step was that you then have to do a bridge transaction. So think of it this way. Ethereum's running and Polygon's running. Polygon at its core is just Ethereum, but it's got a new token, it's got a new side there. So it has to, if you want to transact, you have to create some sort of bridge transaction. So I went back and I did, basically took Fweb3. Here's my token base. And I said I wanted to take 2,500 and I wanted to bridge it. Right now, the network is down for, they're upgrading the network currently. So the bridges don't work. The network itself works, as you'll see in a second. But the bridge won't allow. So it says, okay, I want to lock a certain number of tokens on the Ethereum network, and then I want them to be created on the Polygon chain. What this allows you to do then is basically lock tokens over here, create an equivalent pair inside a Polygon, and basically create a transaction that says these 2,500 are here, and then it exists on the Polygon network there. It's not moving on Ethereum because it's locked, and the only way it can be unlocked is if the tokens on Polygon are moved back into the Ethereum network. And so that way you're not double transacting with it. It's not like somebody can take the 2,500 I have over in Ethereum and do anything with it, to do that. You have to go and lock it out there. So what I did is I took, 2,500 Fweb3 tokens, sent it over and moved it to this transaction. And so, here's the, contract on the Ethereum network, on the Ethereum network. This is our address. Here's all the transactions that happened here. And here is our token on Polygon. Same name, got deployed. It's moved out there so you can see all that. And you can see even the, is it events here? Oh, I don't see it. Yep, contract. So you can even see the contract and everything that the code base is here. So you can actually see what type of token it is, where it's gone through. So same exact thing, everything's done here, over here. So what I meant to show you was, this is the bridge transaction. This is what I did here. So about, a day ago, I put this transaction on. I transacted 2,500 Fweb3 onto Polygon. It got confirmed and worked, and it got moved over. And so now I'm going to switch over to the Polygon network. I'm going to use my wallet here. And cancel that transaction. And here it is. So here's my chain. If you go into here, I am no longer interacting on the Ethereum mainnet. I am interacting on Polygon. And here's my Matic, and here's my Fweb3. So this is live. This is available. I'm able to go and use this. And so great. I have it over here. But what exactly is the benefit of it? So let's go through, and let me give you that, the underline there. So remember how much it costs to send a Fweb3 token on Ethereum. If I switch over and I go through and sell, just to give you a refresher, here's my tokens. I'm on Ethereum mainnet. I'm going to send it here, and I want to send 250 tokens as an example. I go next, 250, $10. Expensive. Let's go ahead and reject that. Cancel. Now let's go over to Polygon. Now I'm on the Polygon network. I added it to my ledger. Everything's good. Here's my asset. Here's my Fweb3 tokens. Great. I want to send it. We're going to send it to the exact same person. So that's the thing. Because it's in Ethereum, it's Ethereum at its core, you don't need a new address. You can use the same exact address, same exact stuff there. It just exists in Polygon as opposed to Ethereum. So I say, okay, great. I want to send 100 tokens, which again is how much you need to be able to interact in this game. So how much is that going to cost me? A penny. So we're literally talking 3 orders of magnitude less than what we did before. So this is in the Matic token, which again is a cheaper token. Matic only cost $1 per, $1.67 per, net transaction, or per Matic, which is their native token. But as I'm looking at this now, I can go and basically send Fweb3 to people for pennies, which is really in the spirit. So in that sense, I'm now able to go and send this. It's very, very cheap. So I can take my thousands of tokens now and I can do my own airdrop. But instead of costing hundreds of dollars, it's going to cost pennies. I'll probably get out for less than a dollar to be able to go a full-blown airdrop to everyone. So that's why this is so powerful. That's why this is so cheap. And so if you're wondering, well, is there certain things that you can't do on the Polygon network to go through and do that? The answer is, well, no, not really. So for example, here is OpenSea. And this is the same OpenSea you use for your other, for everything else here. I go into chains, I go into Polygon, and I say, I want to buy things less than $10. And here is all the art. Here's everything else. Again, I'm not particularly a fan of this. Actually, no, here's Neon District. So I go to Neon District. It costs 0.007. So this is $2.13 for in what they called wrapped ETH, which is Ethereum on the Polygon network. I can go and I can say buy now, confirm checkout. I got to go and sign a transaction. Here, let me go ahead and do that. And we're going to make today's sponsor for this video is Ledger Wallet. They're not paying me. I just don't want you people to lose all your money. So, sign the transaction. We need to reject this. So, I can go, oh, what's happening? So, let's open up. Let's see, on my Polygon network. Let's see if we can try to do this. So let me confirm checkout. I need to sign the message that happened there. There we go. I'm signing that it's me, which signing is not sending a transaction. Oh, it doesn't work, of course. Well, the demo will work next time and go through. There's always some weird interaction between MetaMask and things here. But anywho, this would happen on the Ethereum network regardless, on the direction, because I know there's some weird interaction here. But anywho, you can buy on OpenSea, and you can use it. It's the same thing here. It's just the interaction with the wallet itself. You can buy with wrapped Ethereum. You can interact with that. So that is totally possible to be able to go and do. Here I am on the Polygon network, and here is Uniswap, the same exact Uniswap I was showing before. Now, the liquidity pool is different, but I can go, so we would have to fill this pool with liquidity on both Matic or whatever pair you make, Matic, Fweb3, whatever. And so let's say I wanted to buy, I could go through and say there to do that. So someone has to go and fill the pool, which again, we'd have to make that part of the game if we wanted to do that. But you could have a pair here as well. So same exact network, we can use it the same way to go and make this work. So Uniswap works. The Ethereum net or OpenSea works on these things. We could go to do that. You could create liquidity pools in the exact same way to go and make these all these things go through. And so it's a good solution to be able to go through and do this. I will cover something another time. There are particular downsides to using the Polygon network. To go through them quickly, I'll go through it quickly here. One is that there's something called the blockchain trilemma. Basically says you can get security, decentralization, and speed. Pick two, basically. So Ethereum chose security and decentralization to basically say we're going to be highly decentralized, we're going to be highly secure, but you can't get speed. 15 transactions per second, how slow a block, the Bitcoin network is. You got it in order to get, keep secure and decentralized, you got to go speed. That's what Ethereum did. The Polygon network chose speed, so it's sacrificing something on the security end or the decentralization end. I'm sure they would argue that they have all of these things, but just by the nature of when they launched and where it is, they're sacrificing something. And again, recently, another chain actually had Solana had a huge security breach. So Solana was sacrificing a bit of security to get speed and speed. And Polygon could have something here. There could be some security breach that's, lurking underneath the surface. And Polygon is certainly more centralized, I believe, than the Ethereum network and the way that it operates, particularly with the bridge. For example, in order to get the bridge up, I had to ask them, which is a centralization thing. Like, you shouldn't have to ask anyone to go and do that. So To get speed and security, they may have sacrificed some decentralization. And long term for the community, we have to think about things like that. So that's one of the things that I would say here. So Polygon did go down for a bit, and not like, in a bad way, like, or where the network is unexpected, but basically you can't deposit right now. So again, it's a bit more centralized in the sense that the network could go down versus Ethereum. That's really never happened. So you have this bridge, so the bridge went down here. So there was an idea here. Everyone in the community would need to have Matic now to be able to transact. Again, Matic's super cheap. We could make that part of the air. I'm willing to give some of my Matic away to be able to allow people to transact on the network and give everyone like 50 cents a Matic so you could play the rest of the game. So that's something we could go do. Using this bridge transaction is super expensive. This will legitimately cost you like $60 to be able to transact. So don't move your Fweb3 tokens through this. It makes no sense to move 30 on this network or 300 tokens just because it's there. So we need to find a way to get people, tokens over, in Matic, and which is be part of the proposal that I'm making. And I guess the final downside is that there's actually other chains. This is actually not Sahil's first choice. He's interested in another chain called Starknet to go through. I chose Polygon because it was ease of use, that I was interested in doing this, that it was, was fairly reliable. When I studied L2 solutions, this was the one that came up the most, and to go through this. So there's other chains to go through here. So I don't want to leave this to believe that this is going to be a silver bullet. This is to make the game super, super cheap. And honestly, this may not even be something we're going to use, maybe in a couple years we want to use another solution. But at least for now, it seems to be a good place to kind of set the network. So this gets me to my final pitch here, which is my, proposal for the community. So today, the way the Ethereum our network works is it's actually pretty straightforward. We got the Fweb3 token, and we got airdropped, Sahil, airdropped by Sahil. There we go. So we got a bunch of Fweb3 tokens. Okay. We got airdropped here. And basically the way the user interacts with the game today is really through Ethereum decentralized contracts, like Uniswap, for example, or through these two different places. There's two things that really we use today. We use the Collab Lamb feature inside of Discord, which basically validates if you have enough tokens to basically be let into the group, and the Fweb3 XYZ code. And what I mean by that is if you are here on the website and I go and move over to the Ethereum mainnet and go through, it checks my address, checks the number of tokens I have. Great. It goes and sees what it goes through here. These are really the only two functions that we're really maintaining. And it's really simple because we only have to check one place today. You only have to check the Ethereum address. If we decided we wanted to open up Polygon as a network, we'd have to amend this architecture. We'd have to, let it go through. So in order to support Polygon, in addition to this, we'd have to add all of this here. So this is kind of what the architecture looks like for a Polygon network adoption. So we have the Ethereum address, we got the Polygon Ethereum token contract, work has already been done there, so it already exists over here. We created a bridge transaction, so there's already a Polygon address here. So what would have to happen is a whale of some sort, here could be Sahil, could be one of the mystery people that has, 500,000 tokens or whatever, goes through and basically offers tokens here. So they have an address here. They would use the bridge to lock a whole bunch of transactions, and then they can either sell transactions, they can use Uniswap, they can airdrop, whatever they might be, and basically goes through the tokens. Once you airdrop and put a bunch, let me save the changes. Put a bunch of people here. The game on this side works very, very similar. As I showed you, Uniswap works the same. Burning tokens, I believe, works the same over in Polygon, but I'm not 100% certain. Certainly works that way in the Ethereum network. All the features work, but you need to point to a new network. You need to point over to a new network. So for example, as you see here, and what I do here, I have to move over to Polygon. These things aren't going to natively work. Like if I go to this website and I go to Polygon, it gives an error because it's not not an error. It just knows I'm not on the transaction. I need to be in a different place here. So we need to get these two features to basically point out. So here's the proposal. One, the community for Fweb3 should support both this architecture and this architecture. It's a dual game. And everything else works the same. One wallet has to have over 100 tokens. So if you're on Polygon, you have to have over 100 tokens. If you're on Ethereum, you have the 100 tokens. And you can play the game in either place. You know, you can do whatever you need to. But Polygon would just be naturally cheaper. But if you wanted to do this on Ethereum, you could do that as well. You still need 100 tokens to be a part of the community, and it can't be a split 50-50. It's got to be 100 plus 100, 100 tokens in Ethereum or 100 tokens in Polygon. You can't have 50-50 and play. And that's for simplicity's sake. That's so that we don't have to do any complicated cross-chain math here to make this all work. So collab-lam and validation code, that's all, so to make that simple. We should update the website. So we'll have to update collab-lam to support either network so that if you have tokens inside of Polygon, it also searches there. I haven't looked seriously into the code here, but based on what some of the other community members in the Fweb3 community have said, collab-lam also supports also supports Polygon, so it's something that we should be able to check, but it should support both. You should check Ethereum, you should collect this other place and go through, and then you can go check the address, use the backend, etc. And then the Fweb3 validation would have to work differently as well. So here is the main site, so I have to be on Ethereum. Let's go and switch the network, and of course it sees that. Well, I downloaded the code and basically logged in as this, and this is running on localhost now, so this is mine. And I updated it to basically support the Polygon network. So I am now on network. It's asking me to switch over to Polygon. And if you notice, it's looking on Web3 on the Polygon network. I'm logged in as this address, and I got 2,500 tokens. If I click the address, I'm on Polyscan, and look at that. Here are my ERC20 tokens on this network, and I have 2,500 Web3 tokens. So it's pointing in this new direction. So we'd have to update the website. We'd have to update collab-lam and make sure that we're, doing that. But basically, that's my proposal. We support this architecture in addition. We make a few changes to the website to be able to support, the Polygon. And then Fweb3 goes multi-chain. At that point, then, we're using both networks. You can do everything on one and the other. And quite honestly, I'm excited to do some airdrops. I'd love to send some tokens to folks so they can start playing around and start playing this. I'd love to get you more involved. So, anywho, thank you very much for listening to me. I'll take up my Polygon proposal and put it more into probably a Google Doc or something so that it kind of ends up being more clear. But anyway, I would love to get feedback from the network. I'd love to see what you guys have to say here. So anyway, thank you so much.